Our next speaker is Dr. Gaurav Luthra, who's the director of the Drishti Eye Institute, and he's also the chairman ARC of IRSI, a great surgeon, great friend, and of course has acclaimed skill sets. And he's going to teach us some more. On to you.
Thanks, Dr. Chitra. Thanks for inviting me, and hello everybody. And it's a pleasure to be here on this refractive surgery forum. Let me share my screen. So, changing gears, there's so much of smiling around that I thought I'll switch to some lens-based refractive surgery. And so I'm going to show you a few things that I've learned over the last many years with injection techniques with ICLs and how you can have pearls to avoid some complications and difficulties. So these are a set of 3-4 videos. Now, this is almost a 15-year-old video where you can see that I'm making many mistakes. I'm holding the eye with a forceps, whereas you should have been holding it with the side port ICL manipulator, and then I'm doing a wound assisted injection, which obviously is going to fail. You can do that very nicely with IOLs, but with ICLs, you should never try. You should have an adequate incision. And you can see here that I would have to then from a 2.6 enlarge it to a 3 mm incision. And now I think the lessons are learned. I'm using the side port support with the ICL manipulator, and then I'm not doing a wound assisted injection. The tip of my cartridge is now right at the inner lip of the wound. So it can be inside or it can be right at the inner lip of the wound. That way the ICL is less likely to get aborted, the ICL injection, or even a situation like this. So here we are doing again, as you can see that as I'm injecting, the tip has got dislodged. So it was inside the wound when I started. Let me just go back here. As I started injecting it, the cartridge was inside, but with the pressure, the thing got retracted and the ICL got stuck in this situation. Now, again, this is almost a 13-14-year-old video where I'm confused as to what to do. So what I eventually decide to do is I'm figuring out whether to pull it out or to kind of, because most of it is already gone inside. I'm also worried that it'll flip inside as it goes. I managed to push it in with the forceps, which in retrospect today I would never do. I would just hold this ICL with the one ear over here and pull on it with the ICL holding forceps, and the ICL would just come out very easily, and then you can re-inject. So that's what you learn in retrospect. So if you're stuck in a situation like this where the ICL is semi-injected, first thing is that you can just remove the injector, the ICL will come out, because if half of it is still inside the cartridge, the ICL can be brought back. If it has come out of the injector and from the cartridge tip, you can just hold it from the ear of the ICL outside with the ICL holding forceps and tug on it, and it'll just easily come out. So that's the way to deal with a stuck ICL. Now here's another situation where, if you're going to start injecting, you can see here that I'm making a mistake because my ICL tip is already projecting out a little bit. So maybe my assistant, when he handed the ICL to me after having loaded it, had pushed it a bit too far and small little protrusion here. So in retrospect, when I viewed this video, I realized that why my ICL had got, my ICL injection was not successful, because the ICL was already semi projecting from there and obviously didn't go well. And this ICL was probably stuck. Again, a lesson here. So this can be avoided by ensuring. Now, another situation where even though my ICL is loaded well, you can see here that the 3 holes are in alignment, not in perfect alignment, but in fair alignment. And now I'm just checking for these 3 holes. This is very important that they should be in one line as you inject. Sometimes the ICL will start twisting. So I'm trying to avoid getting an upside down ICL by rotating my injector a little bit. You can sometimes get away with that and sometimes you don't. Here I was able to get away by just twisting my injector during the injection process. As you can see here, as I'm injecting, I'm just going to twist my injector because I noticed that the ICL was coming out in a peculiar way. If it hadn't helped, I would have had to just explant this ICL and still go ahead again. And another situation where here I'm injecting the ICL, and while ICL injectors are beautiful and they are very predictable, but sometimes they will behave in a funny way. And here we ended up getting an ICL which was upside down, and you have to be very careful that you don't, push them under the iris, the foot plate. Sometimes they will just go in. All you have to do is, just hold it with the ICL holding forceps. 1 ear is all that you need to hold. It comes out easily. And then of course you can re-inject it after checking for the holes, whether they are all 3 in alignment, as you can see here, and then you can get a more predictable injection. And if you find that it's still coming out in a peculiar way and where it's like likely to get flipped, just abort the injection and come out. The ICL will follow, and then you can reload it and go back in. Now, what happens if this was a very recent case? We have started doing IPCLs for a few weeks now, few months, and they again work beautifully well as well. Here, as we injected, there are several things to learn from here. One thing is that while we had loaded it nicely, as we are injecting, there are bubbles inside. Now, this is going to confuse you because this will, kind of obviate the landmark. So what's important is once you've loaded the IPCL, you can go from the tip of the nozzle and inject some visco back into it. Otherwise, this is very prone to catch bubbles, which the ICL injector is not. And here you can see that I can't see the landmarks very well. So you have to watch out for the landmarks because there will be two holes which have to come superiorly. Now here, as the lens got injected, I was able to put the foot plates. And as I wanted to go and put the other two foot plates there, I realized that something was not right. And it's very difficult sometimes to tell whether your ICL is upside down. So I got a suspicion. Then I looked at the landmarks and I realized that the IPCL was upside down. And believe me, it's very easy to get all the 4 foot plates in without, unless you have something like an intra-op OCT, you will not know very easily. You'll only know later on. So I aborted the injection, reloaded the lens again, and went in to inject. And then I'll just show you the landmarks, which are very important not to be missed. You can just check that the IPCL is moving. Now you go back again. You can see that the bubble tends to come with the IPCL injector. But if you notice that there will be this notch over here, and they will be on the trailing haptic a notch over here, and the two holes which are superiorly towards the 12 o'clock of the patient, and then you can go and reload it. Now, if you're not careful, you will end up with a situation like this. This was referred to me by a colleague. He had the IPCL upside down, didn't know how to deal with it. We checked on the OCT and there was obviously no vault, and this is how it looked. And this is what the patients landed up with. So this can be totally avoided if you're very careful on table to make sure that you don't have IPCLs or ICLs upside down. And that's all I wanted to share today.
Thank you very much, Gaurav, for showing various situations in the injecting of the IPCL or the ICL. So I'm actually going to move out of that, but stay on with the ICL and ask, how would you manage if you have a high vault? I would want, maybe Ramurthy, would you like to give your thoughts? You find there is a high vault of the ICL. How would you deal with it?
Supposing the IOP is under control and the patient is asymptomatic, if the refractive outcome is quite good, I would not do anything about it. Though it is conventionally said that 250 to 750 is what you want and 500 is ideal, as low as 150 and even as high as 1000. If there is the gonioscopy, I'll definitely do, make sure the angles are open. And if the IOP is under control and the pupil is not getting dilating and fixing, then I would just watch this case. And some of these cases do quite well. Just because there's a low vault or a high vault, you don't have to go ahead and interfere immediately. And as regards Gaurav's very important indication, when you are shifting over from ICLs to some of these Indian phakic intraocular lenses, please remember in the ICL is the right leading haptic and the left trailing haptic, which has a hole, which is the indicator. While in the case of Indian lenses, it is the left leading haptic and the right trailing haptic, which has that small collar stud. So actually, when you shift from ICL to IPCL, you're always looking for that marker on the right side, and which is just the reverse in the case of Indian lenses. And I think that point was very well brought out by Gaurav. And regarding his initial presentations, I think it's always a good idea to go ahead with a 3mm incision. And the first knife I use itself is a 3mm knife, so I don't want to enlarge it and not do a wound assisted. And once you are having the mouth of your cartridge inside, that not only allows a free opening of the lens, but also even if 7/8 of the lens is injected, if you feel the lens is not opening up the right way, you can withdraw and get the lens out, reload it and go in again.
Absolutely.
I also wanted to add, going back to my question about this high vault of ICL, instead of removing the ICL, because she showed us different cases where he has removed it, and it's easy to remove a ICL if it's a high vault, but you could even try repositioning. If it's a regular ICL and not a toric ICL, you could vertically place it and get yourself out. And the other important tip I wanted for the audience when you talk about ICL is, high vault is something you need to be careful in keratoconus eyes too. wherein because of the deeper anterior chamber, central anterior chamber depth, you might to order a higher size lens. So it's very important that when you're sending an ICL for a keratoconus patient, we need to mention that it's a keratoconus eye, and so that the company ensures that it's a smaller sized ICL. But otherwise, I think Gaurav has beautifully shown us the different ways, problems which you have intra-op and can be very well dealt with. Why you didn't show your cataract case? I had some question for that.
Actually, I had a lot of good cases to show, but you gave only 4 minutes. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Gaurav. That was wonderful, whatever you
Thank you,
showed.
ma'am.